Hey, welcome to another episode of the DTC Insider podcast. I'm Roisentul, your host, and today I'm going to interview Alon Partuk. In this episode, he will share his unique perspective as the founder of both a D2C brand and a tech company in the e-commerce space. So I hope you all enjoy this one. Hey, Alon, thanks for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hey, Brian, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you start by telling the audience more about you and your story?
So, yeah, it's quite of a story. So, I'm in the DTC industry for more than 8 years. Funded few companies in the space. Sorry. So, my first kind of a real journey started with founding a Apricoat. When Apricoat is a direct-to-consumer outdoor brand, we started on crowdfunding. So we launched one of the biggest campaign ever been done in design category in Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And the idea is to create the ultimate adventure jacket from kind of need that we saw in ourselves, that everything we tried was cost a lot of money and didn't give us what we need as kind of a new traveler into the new area. And we hit some need in the market, and it became to be very viral campaign. And we found ourselves selling 50,000 units to 16,000 end clients to more than 80 countries and raised more than $2.2 million. So it was quite outstanding and also very challenging to get these kind of massive operations from day one. And we basically scale our business for a few million from day one. So from this time, I kind of built Apricoat, bootstrapping into a successful company. We probably did all the mistake in the book, right? So we've been there all. We saw everything this industry have to offer. So we learned a lot from the mistake that we did, but this is the best way to learn. And I have a kind of a background in the tech industry. So kind of together with building Apricoat, I was working in one of the successful Israeli startup in Tel Aviv that in the end becoming to be kind of the biggest unicorn. And very fast I realized that I have issue managing Apricoat because I managing so many data points, so many kind of silos of business from last mile operation, marketing, customer support, 15 to 20 tabs open in my computer. And I realized that is not efficient. And there is a lot of hidden opportunities and a friction that I'm just figure out later on after a few weeks, waking up in the morning, say that we burned so much money and our clients are not happy. So I thought to myself, okay, remember what you did in your high-tech company when you worked and how you build a scalable product. And I literally kind of find myself going home every day and sit until the middle of the night, building out solution to Apricoat that later on kind of transferred to be Octup. And basically what I build in Apricoat is a platform that can consolidate all data from all sources that I work with, but focusing on operations. And the idea that I was focusing on operation is because this is one of the places that I kind of felt it was so neglected and I have so zero visibility that for me it was very frustrating. And very fast what I built was creating so high impact on Apricoat and able us to scale dramatically with the same amount of, like we were like 3 people managing the company, and we started to grow very fast. And I was kind of invited on Google and Facebook to talk about we are managing our data. And it was kind of,
Nice.
it was overwhelming. Yeah, it's overwhelming to see myself kind of standing in the stage as a small company. And then I just started to get phone calls, from other brands. We heard about your data. We heard about what you built. Help us to build the same mechanism. And I realized that what I built is much more valuable than the company itself, and literally can change an industry, right? Can change the way D2C brands are working and to help them to be much more efficient, much more profitable. And this is where I decided to take the opportunity to build Octup. And what we are doing in Octup, and again, a few words about Octup. So Octup is the first operation system for D2C brand to help them to get a operation perfection. So the idea is to, and again, to help any D2C brand to get visibility and insight on all of his 360 data, focusing on the operational side. And what we can do the best is we are collecting data from all of the source that D2C brand is working, from client support, warehousing, last mile, marketing, etc. And we're creating a very unique 360 data model that we can later on present this data in a few layers. One layer is kind of metrics and numbers, but the most interesting one is the actionable insight. It's basically an AI engine that can look on all of your data and to drive very unique insight or actionable insight that can drive growth. And I think that when I built Octup, the thing that I saw that is very kind of challenging, and when you're looking on the data sources today, so Shopify and Facebook and marketing application, there is a native integration that you can create an app and collect data. But when you're looking on the operational side, you're finding yourself struggling with invoices, right? So you're getting the invoice, I don't know, once a week, a few times a month, and it's just unreadable files that it's not make sense to drive any information, or it's very, very difficult. And we saw there is tons of opportunities inside of this data. So in Octup, we basically built a tool that can read any invoice in any format using machine learning and AI, and to, in the end of the day, transform this unstructured data to our database and to connect it to other basic metrics to your business, and to show you how the service level of your business is affecting important metrics of like lifetime value and retention rate, to kind of both give you hidden opportunities, right? To see where you can take the opportunities that you have but you don't have access to, but also save a lot of money, and we can save like 30% of the operational cost just looking on this data. So this is quite outstanding, the value that we are bringing to our clients, and I'm really kind of happy to see the impact on our client today.
Yeah, and I'm sure your clients are happy too, based on what you're saying. I mean, who wouldn't be happy? So I appreciate you telling us about your story, and I'm sure the audience is interested in the following. At least I am, right? You kind of have a unique perspective because, as you said, you own a D2C brand and also a tech company now, in the same space, right? So you kind of understand what brands are struggling with and the opportunities and the struggles of tech brands as well. So could you please tell me your take on the current scenario in 2023 for both type of companies?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that if you're looking on the D2C industry, the industry going for kind of a huge shift and a big change in the last 2 years. And the reason for that is, if you're taking me like 4 or 5 years back, it was much simpler, right? So on every dollar that we spent, we get 4x. So we didn't need to focus on, so we didn't do any kind of outstanding creative, or to do a conversion rate optimization, and to do all the stuff that we are so kind of struggling today, because you just put money and you're getting good returns in the end. No one talk about optimization of customer support and last mile, etc. It was not important. But when we saw the big change in the privacy, everything related to iOS 14, it just changed the way that we think about our business and we can operate the business. And it's transfer a lot of brands to be unprofitable, and they need to change your mindset together with, a kind of situation that there was a lot of money in the market. and a lot of money was kind of flowing into D2C brands from different lenders. So, if we're talking about 2021, 2022, tons of companies kind of coming in and offer you money to scale your brands and your marketing, etc. So it was also kind of very, I would say, tempting to, or kind of easy to take money into spending on marketing, and very fast companies realize that, hey, we're just bleeding out money what we're doing. So it's been kind of a long process of, I think that a lot of companies are just realizing today it's a game of creative. So you just need to focus on a lot of creative and let the algorithm do whatever it can do the best, and to find your clients, and focusing on kind of what's happening after the first acquisition, because it's so expensive to bring new clients today. We want to make sure that first, most of our clients that we are bringing are, in the end of the day, buying, right? So, to provide high quality product, and to provide best e-commerce experience, and to do a lot of A/B testing and CRO, etc. But when the client is made his first purchase, we want to make sure that his lifetime value will be as much high as possible. And again, kind of retention rate and lifetime value, this is the key game here of a D2C brand, because you really need to be able to provide high value proposition to your client, so they will come back and buy from you again. And I think the challenge that the D2C brand is facing today is to understand when marketing is starting to be kind of a commoditized in a way. So too much platform that offering too much things. We see a lot of brands and a lot of companies kind of shifting out to the places that was not kind of touching before. For example, last mile operation, customer support, because we see a huge correlation between the service level that you're providing to your client to their willingness to come to buy from you again. And the companies that will be smart enough to do this shift and to understand that they need to focus on the last mile and kind of after purchase experience of their client, and to optimize this area and to get visibility on this area, will have very hard time to be profitable and to scale. So looking on a D2C brand in 2023, I think that you need to focus on spending your money in the right places. See what is the most or top performing channel that you have, and work in an efficient way, and try to optimize and save money in the places that are not profitable, to drive them to the places that you see a high return. And this is one of the things that we did on Apricoat. We did a huge change from a company that just want to scale and to spend tons of money on marketing, because maybe someday the money that you're spending will come back, and people maybe will decide someday that they will want to buy from you, although it's been a few months. We realized that it's not scalable, and we need to focus on profitability. And I can tell you that it's quite outstanding. Apricoat today is a profitable business. And again, there is a great team that managing the company today. And one of the reasons that Apricoat is profitable is because they're using Octup to help them to make sure that all of the spend that they're kind of doing in the company and all the operation side is fully optimized. So use technology to make sure that your business is profitable and scaling, and focusing on the place that was kind of neglected before.
Got it. Could you please give me an example on what you just said about how Octup helps e-commerce brands in the operational side? Like one case scenario, so we can better understand in practice what it's doing for brands.
So putting aside the money that we are saving to our clients, just but kind of consolidating all the data, from my side, it was outstanding to see that one of our clients, they're now just selling like, I don't know, $60 million a year, just have zero visibility about everything. Just a second, sorry. They have zero visibility about everything related to their warehousing and last mile, specifically about everything related to cost, and the correlation between the operation side, and I will explain. When we start to work with them, we basically look on their data, and we started to collect operational data. So from warehousing cost to shipping delivery rates, success rates. So to try to measure that all of their order been shipped on time. But also we started to look on the correlation between those silos. For example, we kind of look on the return side, and our system was immediately look where she can find kind of the opportunities for profitability. And we realized that this specific brand is offering free returns on any order. But in the end of the day, in kind of some segment of order, for example, less than one product order, this brand is just bleeding out money on every return that is offering or any exchange. And it is starting to make sense only from two order and more, two product in order and more, because the relative cost of the exchange or return is higher than the kind of average order value. And when we just show them the deviation of how much they're bleeding out money in this area, it's able them to kind of change a little bit their return offering, and maybe sometimes just to tell the client, you know what, you don't need to return to us, we're just going to give you the money back, just not to observe the cost of sending back the product, because it can be so expensive. And one of the most, I think, interesting side, that they didn't know even how much they're paying on a specific order. They didn't have the cost breakdown. So it's really outstanding. And I can tell you that, give you some examples that we found kind of hidden charge inside of the invoice to one of our clients, just $1 per return that was not supposed to be there. And it can be from human error to a kind of a technical issue in the invoice. And all of this is a lot of money kind of sitting around on the floor. And because we see that those brands are so busy and having trouble to get this data and to get these opportunities. But again, I think the key thing of using Octup is our unique technology, that using a very advanced tool to look on all of the 360 data. So we're not kind of dividing each one of them. We're making a correlation between the silos to really bring the magic. And you cannot imagine the thing that we are finding, and how it's changing all of the strategy of the brand. Let me give you an example from the marketing side. So we saw some kind of common behavior among our clients, that clients are usually kind of going back to do the second purchase, if they're doing their second purchase, in the range between 30 to 45 days, if I remember the numbers correctly. And when we look on the company's strategy on retargeting and email marketing, we saw that the time frame of kind of their effort focusing on the client was much wider than that. So they can kind of, 4 months or 5 months of trying to convince the client to buy the second order. And when we focus them on this time window and tell them, listen, we see that, 80% of your client doing that in the first 30 to 45 days. Focus on this time frame. Stop wasting time and stop wasting money on other silos. We see a huge increase in the number of returning clients. And I think that you see those success and you see how you help companies to be more profitable and to scale in a healthy way. This is the rewarding side of building a tech company in the space.
I totally agree with what you just said, and I can totally relate with our clients with this. We see similar things, like they try to define their offers, promotions. In this case, what you just said as well, their strategies for getting people to buy more than one product, and many times those are not aligned with the
Yeah.
reality of their business, with the cogs, or with what you just said, with the business rules for their own industry or for their own brand. As you said, with the example of the time frame for getting people to buy a second time or more. So this is a huge thing, and based on what you were saying before about how things changed over the last years for, I don't know, in terms of digital marketing, paid ads, testing, more creatives. What do you think about the data we have lost? How are you guys making up for that? Do you use post-purchase surveys? Do you have a community and ask your customers what they want? How do you gather data on that front?
So I think one of the most important things, managing a D2C brand is to be very close to your client. But I want to kind of mention a few words. You mentioned, kind of talk about the understanding of COGS and unit economics. And I just want to say that one of the most important things in today's environment, managing a D2C brand, generally speaking, by the way, also managing a tech company, a SaaS company, is to understand your unit economics. What is your financial environment of selling a specific product in a specific category? And I think that when we did our market research, when we built up Octup, and we talk about, dozens of brands, I think was around 80 to 100 brands from variety of segment, and from, a few $100,000 a year to 150 million, we realized that most of them just don't have a clue what is their unit economics, and they're working in benchmark and average, and there is a huge difference between each one individual product unit economics. And in Octup, what we basically did is we able those companies to see in a very clear way their unit economics per product or a category, and we presenting them all the costs from, cost of goods sold to shipping, handling, returns, marketing. And at the end of the day, you can see if you're profitable or not, or even if you're losing money on each sale because the unit economics is not make sense. And touching kind of on this area, we see some use case that companies offering much kind of aggressive discount that they can afford, because any percentage above 25% just make the unit economics losing money or unprofitable. And I think that one of the things that companies need to be kind of focused on is to understand the unit economics, and this is where Octup kind of coming in and presenting in a very, very clear way. So just it was important to me because unit economics specifically is something that I kind of really believe in, to really live your metrics and unit economics of your products. So it's something that was kind of very important to me from day one. So moving on to the next question. Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to ask you if you have identified already the feature that your customers or your clients love the most on Octup.
Yeah, so this is a very good question. I think that if I'm trying kind of to it's kind of to choose between who is the children that you love the most, right? So it's a very hard question, but if I would try to describe which one of the feature is the one that we are getting the most feedback about, is definitely the unit economics. This is, we see the reaction of our clients when they're getting access to the platform. It's just, it's so amazing. It's like taking a flashlight and, putting a light on a place that was, dark all the time, and first time he's seeing what he's seeing. So our clients just live in the unit economics, and we not just build a tool that give you data in a very clear way. We also built a very unique prediction tool and simulators that basically give you the option with the click of a button to play with the numbers and to see how much change in one of the data components can change your all unit economics. And for example, if you know as a manufacturer that you have an opportunity to, I will take an example from my word as I'm selling jacket, replace the zipper and to save $2, you can just change the cost of goods sold, and the system will predict how much it will affect on all of the other data components, and will show you how you can improve your profitability. And then you can just, with a click of a button, create a KPI, and we will help you to drive to this KPI. But, we don't want you to go into the numbers. We will show you the opportunities in the insight. So our AI system will literally look for those opportunities for you, and show you in a very simple way. So you'll be able to focus on building your brand, and not, chasing on opportunities all day. So this is what we want to achieve as a platform.
And every e-commerce brand use Octup, or do they need to be doing, I don't know, over 7 figures or anything like that?
So I think that again, we don't have any specific, limitation. Our current client base is from $1 million to 60. Although we had few that just grow, there were a kind of a 6-figure brand that grew to be a 7-figure together with Octup. It's depend on your need. It's depend on what you want to achieve. If you want to be profitable business, if you want to grow in an efficient way, if you want to make sure that you have the right tool to build a D2C brand in 2023, 2024, you need to use Octup. And so I think you definitely need to check it out and to see if this is the right tool for you.
Awesome.
And
Now,
I'm probably sure that, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm probably sure that you will see the great impact on your business, and you realize that you did the best decision that you can ever do for your business.
Awesome. Changing subjects for a sec. Now switching to you as the founder of Apricoat. We cannot ignore this subject. We are in Q4 already. Black Friday is around the corner. Everyone is getting ready for it, or they should be, right? So how are you guys getting ready for Black Friday at Apricoat? And is there any advice they have for those founders or marketing directors of brands listening?
So again, Apricoat is a seasonal business. Although we try to do a lot of things to kind of not to be a seasonal business. In the end of the day, we're doing a 2/3 of our revenue in Q4. The reason for that is because we're both selling kind of winter clothing. Although the team just launched a backpack, a very unique backpack for every day. So it's supposed to bring us to a whole new category. So either way, all of our business is focused kind of, we're selling from August to May. Although we have revenue all year, but this is the peak season of Apricoat. We've been through like 5, 6 Black Fridays, and it's always kind of really interesting period to be, because it's always in one day you see the peak of sales, and everyone is kind of waiting to spend their money. I think that if I need to give an advice, I will divide it to few kind of things. First, start early, meaning that a lot of clients looking for the opportunities even before, and as soon as you will start to do a good offering to your clients, you will be able to get the most out of those season. And again, I think what our clients are looking for is a good offering, and you need to also take advantage of your community and to find a place that you can bring them a specific offering. So this is something that worked for us very good. So we kind of segmentize our clients so we can do cross-sell, upsells, and kind of to offer, people that buy a jacket, maybe to buy pants, very aggressive discount. Second, I think that I want to talk maybe on the post Black Friday kind of scenario. And this is something that we found ourselves struggling for, at least 2 years, that for us, from October to December, we did outstanding revenues, but in the end of the day was some kind of, scenarios that we found ourselves struggling in in Q1 following year. So we saw a high percentage of returns after the peak season. The reason for that is because people have a very high intensive to buy, but a lot of time they're buying things that they don't need, or they're buying, I don't know, in the apparel space, maybe 3 sizes, and they're keeping the one that it's sitting the most suitable for them. And then we found ourselves with the revenue stages a little bit lower, but the percentage of the return was kind of reflecting the peak side. So we did a lot of action to deal with this situation. But I think any company need to remember that every Black Friday, there is also the end of Black Friday. So be prepared to any scenario of, high returns, or make sure that your warehouse and all of the last mile, and you have enough people answer the tickets. And so you will not find yourself, scaling the revenue, but you don't have the resources to deal with this scenario. So for us, it was we need to learn a little bit how to handle that. And today we're coming much more prepared into the season, and we can know how to manage that more efficiently.
Right, that's an interesting take. I have never heard of the anti-Black Friday concept or something like that, but I do appreciate you mentioning that, you bringing it up, because it's a reality that not everyone talks about. So that's why I wanted your take on that. So thank you for bringing it up. Now I gotta ask, what do you do about it? I know it's inevitable at some point to get returns because of what you just said. Some people buy 3 sizes and return 2 of them. Some people buy things that they thought they needed, or some are gifts that then those people return. So there's a mix of everything, and although you cannot avoid all of them, you can, I think, avoid some of them. So do you have any specific strategy in mind that you can tell us about?
So I think that when you're talking about return and exchange, you need to kind of divide them, right? It's totally different. Although it's similar, it's not the same. Exchange is kind of an event that someone want to exchange a product to a different color, most of the time different size, and return that someone is not, the product is not good from him. It was different from what is expected, maybe quality, whatever. As you mentioned, it was a gift, and you don't want this gift specifically. And I think that there is a lot of things to do in this area to be able to reduce the amount of people that both returning and exchanging. But let's start on the exchange side. So I think that first you need to understand why people are exchanging, and to understand what is the exchange reason, right? It's also relevant to returns, but let's focusing on exchange. In the apparel industry, there is a lot of reason for exchange. It can be size is not suitable, sizes are incorrect, color not look the same. So you're selling pink boots, and it's clients get them, it's red, whatever, I don't know, and the picture changed the color. A lot of different scenarios. I think that first, as a brand, you need to understand why people are exchanging, and to fix the issues that you have. If the image is not good, or on whatever. And in Apricoat, for example, the team did a very, very thorough job using Octup to understand where do we have issues. And I can tell you that when we kind of redefined our sizing tools and sizing chart, we saw, like, I don't know, maybe 70% decrease in exchanges, because people are just ordered a size that was good for them. So this is one side. So there's a lot of tools today to manage return and exchange that you can drive insight, and we of course integrating with them with Octup, so we can drive the insight out of this area. Let's talk a little bit about returns. So I think there was a say I heard a few times that when clients return a package, this is where your relationship with the clients end. I don't think it's true. I think that there is multiple scenario where the clients want to return a package. You need to understand why. If you didn't meet your promise and he opened the product and he didn't like it, maybe he will not come by and buy again. But maybe the fit is not good. A lot of things can happen. And I think that when you're looking on to the environment, there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of motivate the client, maybe to get a store credit or maybe to get other product and to exchange with additional product if this product is not working for him. In the end of the day, if the client want to send back the order, you need to provide him the best service as possible, and of course to allow that. But there is a lot of things that you can do, and again, we have a very dedicated team of the customer support that offering a lot of different things to our clients to make them to be more engaged with the brand and to offer them maybe to get return the jacket but get 2 other items in return, even they have higher value. And the reason for that, because we want this client will be our clients and enjoy from our product, and again be part of our community. And communities, I think it's very important for a D2C brand.
That was interesting. I was taking notes actually while you were speaking, because this is something we haven't actually discussed, at least lately on the show. So I appreciate your take, because as you said, this is part of what we were talking about earlier in the conversation on how to keep people coming back for more. And if we start with the wrong foot, right, and they want to return what they bought because they didn't like it, or because the image was confusing, or maybe we didn't have a clear or a visible size chart, so they end up getting the wrong size. Maybe it didn't live up to the promise that we made. The quality was a little bit off. So there could be a lot of combinations that are not related to the marketing. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's more about the product, right? So we need to make sure that everything runs as smoothly, so we can get people to buy once, keep the product. That's important. Keep the product and then order again. So yeah, I appreciate your take on that. So one question I do have, I get mixed answers on this, by the way, but I love your take on this one as well before we go. Do you usually focus more on getting new customers or getting existing customers to buy again and again on Black Friday, and why? Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Sorry, now can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm saying that if you're randomly going to Apricoat office a few times a day, I think you will hear them talking about specifically this strategy in this question. And the reason for that is because what we saw happening in the last year's Apricoat is increase in the returning revenue from 20% to some months it was 60+%. Meaning that most of our revenue coming from a recurrent client. And there is a lot of reason for that. The focus that we're doing with our community, how we are building our product with the community, launching of new product set. And when you see the power of community and retention rate, you understand there is a huge it's a huge opportunity. But to be able to create this community, you need to bring new clients, right? So you need to always feed your community with new people, then introduce new clients into your brand, so to make your community bigger and bigger. So I think the conclusion is to look on kind of a blended area. So set a target of blended returns that you want to get, and maybe the paid acquisition side will be a little bit lower, and the return on investment of recurrent client we can be even 10x, right? So there is kind of campaigns that bringing us a ROAS of 10. So when you're planning kind of your whole strategy, you need to bring always new clients to kind of increase community, but also focusing a lot on your existing one. But this is the most a profitable channel. But again, I think that looking a little bit, above the numbers and above the metrics and all of these kind of analytics, and looking at on a more a human aspect, it's really amazing to see the community that we built. Sometimes didn't even believe that people are sending images from Australia, from the States, from so amazing places around the world with Apricoat products. So you say, wow, we are literally bringing value to our clients, or people are enjoying wearing our product. And as a founder, sometimes you're just focusing on the work so hard that you having trouble to see behind, or not behind, to see kind of something else than day to day. And sometimes I find myself, sitting in front of the TV in the evening, opening kind of the Instagram and see people are tagging Apricoat, and it's blown my mind. Really, it's sometimes even exciting and give me kind of a good feeling to see that we with all of the business side really bring value to our clients.
Awesome. It's great to hear. Hey, one of the last questions I got for you is about your favorite books. We put together a list for everyone listening or watching this episode. We put together a list of books every year, books mentioned in the show. They could be books about business, entrepreneurship, or it could be any other book that you like. So, do you have any by any chance to mention?
Yeah, I think that one of the inspiring book that that someone kind of give me to read was when we just finished the Kickstarter campaign and we found ourselves with craziness, I would say. And someone told me, listen, you must read the Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. I think that I was kind of saw his journey building Nike as a global brand and all the challenging, and was kind of identify with a lot of different things. As an entrepreneur, it was kind of outstanding. So I really recommend to any entrepreneur to read this book if you're in the apparel industry or whatever. It's a great story of how to build a business with all the challenges.
That's awesome. So I really had a great time. I think you delivered a lot of value to me and everyone listening here. So I appreciate you being here on the show. And before you go, I wanted to ask you, where can people go to learn more about you and your companies, both of them?
Yeah, so I personally always love to learn more people, to know new people, and be in touch. So of course, I'm available on my LinkedIn, and you can reach out to octup.com to try Octup if you're a D2C brand, and you of course can visit apricoat.com if you want to get yourself an outstanding jacket or outdoor equipment or a new backpack that just launched. So from any social media, I am available, and feel free to reach out. I think it's again, the community is a big side of what we're doing, and it's always good to know new people. So feel free to reach out, and we can connect.
Awesome. To everyone listening or watching, thank you for doing that. In case you want to get any of the resources mentioned in this episode, please go to the DTCinsider.com, find the episode in case you are not there currently, and you will find the show notes there as well. Alon, thank you again for being here. It was my pleasure to have you.
Thank you for inviting me, Brian. It was great.